We are now in October 26th of 2021 in Japan, and we have no trademark for today, meaning we've officially exceeded the normal trademarking season for Sentai of the next year. Now this in theory should be a very concerning sign. Does it mean the Super Sentai series is actually cancelled despite what I said 2 months ago? I mean, rumors have obviously been circulating around that Sentai would get cancelled for the past few years, but not getting a trademark by the end of October? That should be theoretically the biggest sign. Yeah, no, Sentai's still kinda gonna happen. I'm just gonna say it here, if you're being told in any capacity that Sentai is being cancelled by any sort of people, they're most likely either just worried and anxious, or they actually do want to see Sentai get cancelled, which there is a surprising amount of Toku fans who do. It's like, even under circumstances which I admit are pretty unpredictable and shitty, like not getting the trademark in the usual season, you probably should believe that there's going to be a new Sentai next year if there's solidified proof that there will be a Sentai next year. Now obviously in the Sentai cancellation video that I made recently, I touched up on some of the solidified proof that I'm talking about, but even more solidified proof has come in the last few days. Even though we don't have a trademark, we actually happen to have a lot more in leaks. In the few days before the final trademarking day, we actually got a load of rumors dropped onto us. Then, these rumors turned into leaks when we actually got toy listings dropped from a credible leaker of the past. This means that we most certainly have true details on the next Super Sentai series, although things definitely could change within the development cycle of a Sentai, as we've explored on this channel, so remember to still take this video with a grain of salt. So today, similarly to Japanime on his channel, go check his video on the same subject out, we're going to be delving into this information and discussing my thoughts on it. To start off, it seems like this team will be having in some form a Japanese motif. This makes me quite happy right off the bat, as whenever Bandai does anything related to Japanese culture, it usually ends up being the most fun in my opinion, with seasons revolving around Japanese culture such as Shinkenger and Ninja. They're usually my favorite aesthetics in all of Sentai and Rider. Then we have a quite large amount of information on our team leader. We know that he will be red once again, which is quite relieving because I really like that color as the lead for Sentai team. He will be themed around the Japanese folklore icon Momotaro. If you don't know what that means, it's basically saying that he'll be a samurai with peaches all over him. Actually, the rumors having said further that he'll have peach goggles as a visor, probably making him look a lot like a modern Kamen Rider Den-O as a result. And then the last piece of information that we know is that he'll have a signature gun toy, which can be used on the ground as well a gun, but then grow and turn into a bicycle, which will be his mecha. Aside from that, we have no information on the rest of the members of the team, although if I were to have to guess from this, I think that it'd be a 4-member team themed after Momotaro, and then the other 3 members being Momotaro's animal friends. Now some of that I think is really cool, as I do think Japanese folklore and fairy tales is a good place of the Japanese culture to focus on, especially comparatively to ninjas again, which would kinda just set the Sentai fandom off. And I also think that having a samurai-esque lead as the main ranger would be pretty damn awesome. What I don't like is a motorcycle mecha. That is just kinda lame in my opinion. Moving on, the first part of the Sentai name might be Bakutaro Sentai, although this one's more debatable because of the fact that in Japanese it doesn't actually mean anything, and it could be a mistranslation from the Chinese sources that we got this information from. But then the most loaded part of all of this is that this season would essentially be a semi-sequel to the currently airing Zenkaiger. What it states is that while this season will be revolving around an entirely new team and probably somewhat of a new plot, it will be a continuation of sorts from Zenkaiger and where we were at there. The new Red Ranger will be appearing at the end of Zenkaiger supposedly, and Zenkaiser and Juron will apparently be main characters in the next season and appear quite a bit. As part of this, Sentai gears will also be the main collectible of next year as well, although it'll have a shuriken-like design to them and updated in that regard. And the mecha of the Red Ranger, which was the bike as I talked about, will apparently be able to combine with Juron. Now for this, I'm pretty torn, as if you know me, I'm not a super huge fan of the Zenkaiger toy line, and I also like the individuality of Sentai, and I really would like for this new season to focus on its own toy line, although in some ways I actually sort of get why they're doing this. I had stated it on Twitter and most of you guys seem to agree. Sentai is essentially going through an era of experimentation ever since Q-Ranger. With Q-Ranger, you had 9 Rangers. With Lupat, you had 2 teams facing off against each other. With Ryu Soldier, you had more Rider-like gimmicks. With Kira Major, you went as simple as you possibly could, which technically is experimenting if you think about it. And with Zenkaiger, you have Rangers that look nothing like what we've gotten in the past before. Sentai 2022's fresh new thing would essentially being an actual sequel to a Sentai, which aside from Sun Vulcan, which in that regard was kind of limited, we haven't seen in Sentai before. So as much as I don't want Zenkaiger to be extended for another year, it's worth testing out and seeing if it sticks. And at the end of the day, this show will be revolving around the new team, and maybe their aesthetics won't be as reliant on Zenkaigers as I would expect right now. We have to keep an open mind and open door. And that pretty much settles it. Big thanks to Matt Hunt on Twitter. He is a big help when it comes to circulating information around and telling me a lot of the things that I got for this video. Now, what are your guys' thoughts on this information? Leave a comment down below, as I'd certainly love to see whether these new ideas get approval or disapproval from certain fans. And with that, see you guys next time.